The Week 15 review episode of the Bears Talk Underground is, of course, brought to you by MyBookie. Whether you're an expert or a rookie, you should be betting at MyBookie. Pick 3 games to win, and if you hit all 3, you can turn $100 into $600 with a big parlay. There's so much to bet on as well. A college football bowl season is well underway. College basketball, the NBA, NFL, the playoffs are coming up there. NHL, custom props, even esports, you name it, MyBookie has it. MyBookie is the one bet I know you'll be happy with all year. I recommend these guys because I really trust them. MyBookie has been in business for years. They've got great online reviews, and their mobile site is so easy to use. Sign up this week, and MyBookie will give you a 50% deposit bonus to jumpstart your bankroll. So don't miss out on one of the best weeks to bet on sports this year. Log on to MyBookie right now and use the promo code BEARS25 to get your 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code BEARS25. MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid, and now it's Victory Monday and the sweetest victory of 2018.
Listen to this crowd. Trubisky takes the snap, takes a knee, they head to the field. The Bears have won it 24-17 over the Green Bay Packers. And it's been an anguishing absence from the playoffs. 7 years, 11 months, 27 days. They go last to first, and they win the NFC North 2018 division champions. And these loyal fans have been rewarded for their loyalty. And they have a Bears team to be proud of right now. Fun, tight, exciting, stubborn, intense, and Matt Nagy's swag. Champions of the NFC North, the playoffs are coming back.
When I heard that clip, the first thought I had in my head was, why the hell would I write an intro when I have Jeff Joniak, talking about the final moments of the Bears' victory over the Green Bay Packers, clinching the NFC North Division for the first time since 2010. What's going on, everybody? Larry back for Victory Monday, the sweetest victory of 2018 over the Green Bay Packers, avenging our loss from Week 1 and clinching our first division title in a very, very long time. That clip courtesy of ChicagoBears.com and WBBM Radio in Chicago, the home of the Chicago Bears radio network. And it was just, first of all, that was shared with me by about half a dozen people yesterday. That clip was everywhere, and really enjoyed watching it. It was actually a much longer clip than the one that I edited down to use for the intro of the show. If you want to check it out, it's everywhere, so I'm sure you won't have any trouble finding it. But just the enthusiasm and the passion, Joniak is definitely a Bear guy. For sure, and his excitement was shared by every single Bear fan watching the game yesterday as we took down the Packers in convincing fashion, 24-17 to go to 10-4 on the season. Our first 10-win season since Lovey left town in 2012. Our first division title since 2010. Our first playoff appearance since 2010, and there's something just different about this team than that team in 2010 or any other one in recent memory, quite frankly. There's just something special about what's going on in Chicago these days. So I'm very excited about what's happening. Very proud of this team. Very proud to have a show like this and having weathered the storm and served as everybody's therapist, during a 3-13 2016 season through the last 5 years of John Fox and Mark Trestman. And, this move worked, that one didn't. We played great here. We were terrible there. The up and down roller coaster that has been the Chicago Bears for the past 5 seasons. And here we are, season number 6, new coach in Matt Nagy. And you heard Joniak say the Matt Nagy swag. That's definitely something he has brought to the team. It's that, like I said, there is something different about this team than the ones that we have seen in the past. And it's been a pleasure watching them, and doing the show this year has been a hell of a lot more fun when we have more Victory Mondays than non-Victory Mondays. So, yesterday was a lot of fun. especially in the fourth quarter when the Bears kind of pulled away. We had a tense moment there when Packers were driving down, and Eddie Jackson took care of that for us, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But overall, it was the Bears putting their stamp on the NFC North, claiming what was theirs, what has been theirs all along. With the way that they've played, nobody in the division is better than us. And so, finally staking claim officially on the NFC North was very poetic yesterday. And poetic that we did it against Green Bay, which has been the class of the division for a very, very long time. Poetic in the fact that it was Aaron Rodgers for all 60 minutes of that game. No excuses coming from Packer fans about, if Rodgers was healthy or blah, blah, blah. None of that. He was in the game from start to finish, and we had the better team on the field. And even the things that worked for them in the first matchup in the second half, when Rodgers led the comeback to beat us week one. The quick slants and the short routes and the 3-step drops and stuff like that. You didn't really see much of that yesterday because the secondary was outstanding yesterday. Rodgers had forever and a day to throw the ball at times because we were only rushing 3 and dropping 8, or rushing 4 and dropping 7, and there were no open spots in the secondary. Rodgers is still Rodgers, and he made his throws, and the Packers made their share of plays yesterday. But it wasn't like, in the past where we watched Rodgers just absolutely carve us up one play after another and so on and so forth. It just wasn't the same. You never really got any fear that the game was going to get away from us. I mean, there were some tense moments in the third quarter, and you'll hear it in my knee-jerk reaction. But overall, it was I hate to say typical, but typical in the way that this is the way that things have been done this year. The Bears get out in front early. They're playing from ahead. They're protecting a lead and what have you. So there's no real fear. There was no fear about the Bears having to come from behind. We didn't let Rodgers get ahead of us, so we're trying to scratch and claw our way back in or anything like that. We had a nice lead at halftime, and it was more about containing Aaron Rodgers, shutting things down for the Packers, and the defense did that. We sacked Rodgers 5 times yesterday, and we were in his face even more than that, which is the other big difference from past matchups, which is that, we sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times, but we only got pressure on him 5 times. So, we were batting 1,000 as far as like when we got there, we got him, but the problem was we were never, ever even close. He had all day to throw the ball and so on and so forth in the past. Yesterday was not the case. He was sometimes he'd get the throw off, but he got hit in the process. It was, forcing some throws to go off target and everything. The Bears did a fantastic job against Rodgers yesterday. I could not have been happier with the way it turned out. So, just a grand performance from the best team in the division, that they've played like the best team all along, and yesterday it became a reality. The whole will they, won't they thing was finally solved. The Bears clinched the division, and we're heading to the playoffs. And, in the first quarter, things, started out, and, it was kind of fun in the beginning. It was interesting watching these teams. No one really trying to take a big shot in the first quarter, but definitely letting each other know that they were there.
Knee-jerk reaction in the first quarter, the Bears and the Packers, and it's been fun so far. Both teams coming up short on their very first drives. The Bears and Khalil Mack collecting their first sack on Aaron Rodgers to shut down the first drive. Both offenses come out kind of a very laid-back approach. Both teams, seem to want to rely more on the run as we're beginning, especially Green Bay. But Rodgers was able to move the sticks a couple of times on the first possession. Some short slant routes to the receivers, get a first down here and there. But the Bears shut that down with a sack on third down from Khalil Mack. On the second offensive possession, again, the Bears being a bit more methodical. Heavy on Jordan Howard running the football. Tariq Cohen hasn't touched the ball yet coming out of the backfield as far as running it or anything like that. He has caught a pass out of the backfield. We're able to move the chains, get the ball inside goal-to-go situation. It seems like the message to Mitch this week in practice has been, let's take it easy. Let's slow it down. We're going to get there. Taking 10 yards on, 50 yards on 5 plays or 50 yards in 1 play, we still get there one way or the other. So let's take the longer route methodically, keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands and so on. We get the ball into a goal-to-go situation, hand off to Jordan Howard, who runs untouched up the gut for a touchdown to end the second drive, 7-0 for the Bears. Second possession also going very well so far for the Green Bay Packers, moving the football. They had a nice little screenplay just a minute ago, and they're in Bear territory, like on the 40-yard line and something like that, and that's where the first quarter ends. So it seems like neither one is going to come out with haymakers to get started. They know that this is going to be a 12-round knockdown, drag-out fight no matter what, and that's how both teams are playing it right now. So with the Bears up 7-0, Aaron Rodgers and company seeing if they can answer the Bears' second possession with a touchdown of their own.
To go in line with that little boxing analogy that I was playing with there, when I said they weren't coming out with haymakers, I guess the best way to say it within that boxing analogy would be that they came out just kind of feeling each other out with the jab. They're coming out with the run. They weren't trying to hit anything big right off the bat, and even in the mid range of like trying to hit something 10, 15 yards down the field or anything. When I was talking about Nagy, the message to Mitch during this week was to basically to take it easy. It was more in line with when Mitch went back and watched himself on film against the Rams. He was rushing himself. He was trying to do too much, and that's where his fundamentals went funky on him, and that's where balls started sailing, and that's where the picks came from, and all the rest of that. So I guess it was a bit more of a, slow down, see what you're, see the receiver make the throw, but make sure that you're doing it the right way, kind of thing. Whether it takes us 5 plays to get to 50 yards or we get 50 on 1 play, we're going to get it no matter what. So let's do it. Let's get there the best way as opposed to the fastest way. So, I mean, if we can get 1 play to take us 50 yards, great. But if it takes us 5, then we'll do that. If it takes us 10, then we'll do that too. Whatever it is, as long as we're keeping the football, we're moving the ball, we get into a rhythm, we'll be fine. Let's just take what the defense has given us, and we'll work on it from there. And it just seemed to be that was the approach, in the first quarter. It extended into the second. In the first quarter with the defense, like I said, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's going to make his plays. He's going to make his throws. But the Bears were intent on shutting the door, especially on that first drive, sacking Rodgers on third down. Now, third down will become a problem for the Bears defense a little bit later on in the game, especially in the third quarter. That was a concern for sure in the third quarter, that pretty much any third down that Rodgers wanted to convert, he was pretty much able to do so at will. But when the first quarter was commencing and as it goes into the second quarter, they weren't doing more of their damage on first and second down, and third down really wasn't an issue. Whenever they did get the third down, then the Bears would kind of shut them down and whatnot. So, but in the first quarter, it really was, like I said, to go along with the boxing analogy, that they were kind of feeling each other out with the jab, seeing what was there, what can I get away with, that kind of thing, and nobody really trying to come out and deliver the knockout blow in the early rounds. To kind of sum up that silly analogy. But as we moved into the second quarter, when we go into halftime, it was kind of like deja vu. Nothing as big and flashy as a Khalil Mack pick six to close things down in the first half. I'm not laughing like an idiot at halftime because the Lambeau is booing the Packers off the field or anything like that, but a very familiar feeling of the Bears are in control And as we did at the end of the first half in the first game, we struck at the very end of the half to give ourselves a decent lead going into the break.
Knee-jerk reaction to the second quarter, the Bears and the Packers, and it's going our way right now. The defense is doing a great job at bottling up Aaron Rodgers. The running game, I don't even think has cracked 20 yards at this point for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is doing his thing, keeping the drive alive and things like that, but not doing much damage at all. You know who has come to play today? Mitchell Trubisky, 13 of 18, $161 and a touchdown to Tariq Cohen just before the half. The Bears did a great sequence of events for the Bears. First of all, a great punt from Pat O'Donnell pins the Packers inside the 5. The Packers can't do much of anything with it. They punt it back to the Bears, who start inside Green Bay territory, and Mitchell Trubisky on the 2-minute drill with about $1:48 to go drives the Bears down the field, finds Tariq Cohen out of the backfield, avoiding pressure. He has been doing a fantastic job avoiding pressure in this game. The Packer defenders have to be going nuts because they've actually been doing a pretty good job getting to Mitch, but none of them can get a clear shot and actually get their hands on him and bring him down. But he does it one more time, finds Tariq Cohen, who makes an amazing play to get the ball across the pylon to put the Bears up 14-3 here at the half. The Packers start with the football in the second half, but the Bears have the momentum. They have a big lead. We have the home crowd, and hopefully in 30 more minutes we'll have a victory and a division crown.
Before we move on, I would like to have you all just, if you would please, just bow your heads and say a silent prayer for the microphone that I've been using for the last several years to record the knee-jerk reactions, because it crapped out on me. That's what the issue was. Remember, we didn't have a second quarter knee-jerk reaction last week. Well, when I recorded the third quarter knee-jerk reaction, I recorded another 2.5 minutes of silence. So I had to go back and re-record it without a microphone and just use the one that's embedded in the actual mini recorder. That microphone is currently in the trash right now before I deliver it to its final resting place, probably tomorrow morning, because the trash needs to go out. But I don't know if I'll be getting a new mic or if I'll just be sticking with just the mini recorder itself. I like to use the microphone because the mini recorder picks up a lot more noise than the microphone does. But nonetheless, the third quarter knee-jerk reaction had to be re-recorded, and the fourth quarter one was just naked mini recorder, no microphone. So just a moment of silence for the microphone that has recorded so many knee-jerk reactions and so many moments over the years. I think I've been doing knee-jerk reactions since 2010, 2011. I'm not really sure. But, and here we are, 2018, and at least 8 or 9 seasons doing the knee-jerk reactions. And, a brand new mic. It was I got a lot of miles out of that thing. I think I paid like $12 for it at Radio Shack or something like that. I've had that mic for a long time, and it has officially been retired. And like I said, is going to that studio in the sky now that I'm finally done with it. So anyway, in the second quarter, as they did in the first meeting, the Bears kind of asserted themselves as the team that will be in control of the matchup. You heard me mention that the Packers were having a great deal of trouble running the football. The Bears were rather suffocating in the first half, defending the run and getting after Rodgers. The now famous Khalil Mack back sack happened in the second quarter, and but what was messed up is they only gave him half a sack for that one. They gave the other half to Bilal Nichols. I guess because he didn't use his arms, they only gave him half a sack. But instead of having 3 sacks on the day, Khalil Mack had 2.5, and the back sack was the half. And so Bilal Nichols getting credit for half a sack yesterday on that particular play. And that was like more of the same. Like they did in the first matchup, the Bears dominated the second quarter, and at the end of it, they put a punctuation on it with the touchdown drive. Trubisky was giving the Green Bay Packers fits yesterday. I mean, there was a couple of times where a defender had Mitch dead to rights. he makes a move, the guy runs right past him, and Mitch is either finding somebody downfield or making things happen with his feet. And like I said, at halftime, I forget what I said the stats were, but it was like 10 of 18, 13 of 18, something like that. And the one touchdown pass, he threw the second one in the fourth quarter. But he had the touchdown pass to Tariq Cohen where he eluded a defender, got himself free, found Tariq Cohen, and then Tariq did the rest with his feet there. Mitch was doing that all day. Rodgers got sacked 5 times. Mitch was under pressure a bit, but only got sacked once yesterday, and that was where the Packers finally collapsed the pocket on him. It really didn't have anything to do with when the defenders getting beat and somebody just came down on Mitch the way that we were doing on Rodgers yesterday. It would just be like, somebody came free, boom, Rodgers has got no place to go, he goes down, that kind of thing. It was more like they finally collapsed the pocket on Mitch and he had nowhere to go. So that's how the one sack that happened on Mitch yesterday occurred, and he came ready to play. He was being much more efficient. He was being a lot more careful, and you could see that he really was doing the work to not get his feet all. He wasn't rushing his throws. He looked much better than he did against the Rams. So we can chalk it up to nerves. We can chalk it up to rust or whatever. But he said everything that he saw was fixable, and he came out on Sunday and he looked like he fixed it because he outdueled Aaron Rodgers yesterday. So Aaron Rodgers won the battle on yardage, but Mitch was much more efficient. He was a lot better in the pocket yesterday, and he threw 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, and Aaron Rodgers can't say that. So Mitch definitely won the battle of the quarterbacks yesterday, and his team came away with the victory. So on to the first knee-jerk reaction recorded without a microphone. Here's the third quarter knee-jerk reaction where halftime comes through, the third quarter gets started, and all of a sudden we're starting to get deja vu from week 1, and not in a good way.
Knee-jerk reaction to the third quarter, the Bears and the Packers, and just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in. Aaron Rodgers, this guy, unbelievable. But it's another moment where the Bears shot themselves in the foot. I mean, it feels like we're watching Week 1 happen all over again. I don't understand this. The Bears come out, I don't want to say they came out flat, but it doesn't really feel like we're putting the gas pedal down like we were in the first and second quarters and trying to be aggressive again. It feels like Week 1 is happening all over again. The Bears shooting themselves in the foot. Instead of just going for it on 4th and 2, the Bears bring on the punt team and they fake it, and the Packers see it coming a mile away. They stuff it at the 50-yard line. 5 plays later, for a football team that's had trouble running the football, they have a rushing touchdown from their running back Williams to bring it, and they go for 2 and they get it and they tie it 14-14. They added a Mason Crosby field goal earlier in the quarter, I think, with their first drive, if I'm not mistaken. But the Bears we're suffering on third down. We're playing well on first and second down, and then third down is where we seem to be crumbling against Rodgers, whether it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 80. For whatever reason, Rodgers is able to get what he needs and find a guy in the spot that can get the yardage that he needs. On that particular drive, we had him 3rd and 8, and he finds Devontae Adams out there, gave him a 50-50 ball, and Adams came down with it over Prince Amukamara. So in the fourth quarter, here we are, we're tied. The Bears are driving, though, so this might be a short-lived thing. We might get our lead back here soon, but we need to be aggressive. We need to stay on top of it. We need to get after Rodgers, and we need to be better on third down.
Sounded weird without the mic, didn't it? It sounded weird to me. Anyway, but yes, we needed to be better on third down because Aaron Rodgers was kind of imposing his will on third down, and you were kind of worried, is this game going to slip away from us? Is Rodgers going to do it to us again? They come out on the first drive and they get the field goal, so it's 14-6. Okay, no big deal. The Bears move the ball to midfield, and it just kind of felt like if Nagy is making one of those rookie mistakes again and trying to be a little too cute, where he instead of just going ahead and keeping the offense out there and going for it on 4th and 2, we go with the fake that apparently the Packers saw coming from a mile away, and stuffed it immediately, now giving them the football at midfield with a little of a stank on it, with some momentum and everything, and they convert that into a touchdown. And here we were moments ago. We had a 2-score lead against the team that could do nothing against our defense. And before you know it, we're tied up. And this thing is 0-0 again. It was kind of heart-wrenching. It's like, oh, geez, man, we are so close. And if and it's like this can't happen now. Okay, just don't. Minnesota's winning. They'll only be a game back. And it's like, no, we can't do this now. We have to come back. And we have to, this is not how this is supposed to go. To hell with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. This is not going to happen again. And apparently the Bears were on the sideline saying the same thing, because when the fourth quarter came around, everything changed. It went back to, all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers went from being able to find guys to not being able to find anyone. He's standing back there in the pocket with no one to throw to. I mean, he was back there 5, 6 seconds. It felt like he was back there forever, because we were only rushing 3 and 4 guys, dropping everybody else into coverage, and there was nowhere for them to go with it. I mean, kudos to the secondary yesterday, whether it was our 4 or 5 defensive backs and of course our linebackers dropping into coverage as well, because Rodgers had forever and a day to throw the football, but never had anyone to throw it to, or at least never had a window that he was comfortable enough to throw it into. So even gunslinger Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to try to fit one in a tight window, not against this secondary that generates turnovers like the ocean generates fish. I don't know. It's something. I'm sorry, that was terrible. But anyway. You know what I'm saying? It just, we generate the turnovers, and Aaron Rodgers fully aware of that, so he wasn't willing to make any risky throws yesterday. This isn't your dad's Chicago Bears secondary anymore. These new guys, they know how to make a play on a football, because you got at least 2 Pro Bowl guys back there, and Eddie Jackson and Kyle Fuller, who happen to be, I think, like number 1 and number 2, number 3 or something like that, in the top 5 in interceptions in the league. These guys know how to make a break on a ball, and Adrian Amos and Prince Amukamara are no strangers to interceptions themselves. So Rodgers wasn't willing to risk it, and he either had to get rid of the ball or he had to take the sack. And in the fourth quarter, more times than not, he was taking a sack. So it was a fun thing to watch in the fourth quarter. We're getting ahead of myself here, but in the third quarter, it was the Bears not being, you heard me say that it felt like we weren't being aggressive. We were trying to get conservative or anything like that. Truth be told, the Bears really didn't have the ball much in the third quarter, and what we did wasn't working. So we don't score on every single drive, but it just like we weren't making anything happen with our drives, but the Packers made something happen with theirs, and the next thing you know, it's a tie ball game. We're heading into the fourth quarter. But as I said, we were driving at the end of the fourth quarter, so the tie ball game would be short-lived. And even though there was some drama, thanks to another possibly ill-advised, only in hindsight is it ill-advised, the third and one. The 3rd and 1 play. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But, there was some drama in the fourth quarter, but the Bears regained their lead and ended a very impressive streak from Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter, but something that may affect our defense going forward.
Knee-jerk reaction to the fourth quarter. And welcome to the playoffs, Bear fans. For only the second time in Bears Talk Underground / Chicago Bears review history, the Chicago Bears are the NFC North Division champions, and we're going to be doing postseason football games, baby. So great. The fourth quarter, the Bears retook control of the football game. A touchdown drive and an amazing toss from Mitch Trubisky, finding Trey Burton, who's been somewhat of a ghost here in the second half of the season. But he and Mitch hooked up for the touchdown to put us up 21-14. The Bears also added a field goal later on to make us a 10-point lead. And then in a very tense time in the football game, the Packers are driving. It's to try to bring themselves within one score, and the Bears, God bless them, end Aaron Rodgers' consecutive attempt streak at 402 when a ball off the defender's hands into the waiting arms of Eddie Jackson for the interception, kills the drive. The Bears take the football back. However, scary moment, that crappy Soldier Field turf gives way under Eddie as he's trying to give himself up. He's trying to go down. His leg slips out from underneath him. He twists his ankle. He ends up leaving the football game, so hopefully it's fine. It looks I'm hoping it's just an ankle sprain. At worst, maybe a high ankle sprain. Maybe he'll be back next week. At the worst, hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. So, but nonetheless, it's time for celebration. I'm going to go out and watch a movie. Who wants to come see Spider-Man with me? Bears win 24-17. We go to 10-4, and we claim the NFC North Division title.
First things first, I enjoyed Spider-Man. It was a lot of fun. I even splurged for the 3D. It is a visually fun. It is a lot of fun of a movie to look at. The animation was done really, really well. The story was kind of fun. I'm not much of a comic book guy, so I wasn't really hip to a lot of the things that were going on as far as like the, knowing who some of these characters were and whatnot. But I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And like I said, I even splurged for the 3D, which was also cool as well. But Eddie Jackson, according to Matt Nagy in the press conferences earlier today on Monday, says that it is a sprain. And even I forgot to mention Aaron Lynch left the game with an elbow injury. Nagy saying that he doesn't think either of the injuries are season ending. So that's good news to hear. He said it'll probably be another 24 hours before we know for sure what's going on with Eddie especially. I'm not sure what the status of Aaron Lynch is going to be, but good news to hear that neither injury is neither guy is going to make a trip to the IR or so anybody thinks anyway. So like I said, with the Eddie Jackson thing, it was more frustrating than anything. Here he is. He's made this interception, and he doesn't really even get to celebrate it because of that stupid-ass turf in Soldier Field that gave way underneath him as he's trying to give himself up, as he's trying to go down, and his foot gets caught underneath him, and he rolls it up. It just, why don't we have field turf on that field? Honestly, why don't we have field turf? It just – anyway, but it ended – what was the most promising drive of Green Bay in the fourth quarter. The pass was intended for Jimmy Graham. I think it was Roquan that was on the defense. It goes off the hands of Jimmy Graham into the waiting arms of Eddie Jackson. I thought it would have been a bit more poetic if it was Kyle Fuller that made the interception. I just had a feeling that Rodgers was going to serve one up for us. And like I said to Evan when we had him on the show on Thursday, I didn't think it was going to be a what the hell kind of throw was that from Rodgers kind of thing. I thought it was going to be a moment like it was, whether it's off somebody else's hands or something like that. It wasn't going to necessarily be Rodgers' fault that an interception was thrown because you just don't see him do that, even though he hasn't had his full powers this year, so I keep hearing anyway, because he missed some wide open receivers a couple of times in this game where you're sitting there and you're just like, oh, God, that guy is open, and the ball goes sailing over his head. That happened a couple of times in the game on Sunday, but Rodgers wasn't able to complete those passes like he usually does, and he was off slightly off target with Jimmy Graham, and we were the beneficiary of it as Eddie Jackson, takes the interception and kills the drive. Now, the drama that happened earlier in the fourth quarter, that promising drive that I was talking about at the end of the third quarter, actually was not the touchdown drive that ended with Trey Burton. It was it was an especially tense moment because it was the fourth quarter, because the game was still tied. The Bears are closing in on the red zone if they weren't already there. And it was 3rd and 1. Tariq Cohen, Taquan Mizzell, and Jordan Howard are all in the backfield together. Mitch is lined up wide at receiver, so they're doing the wildcat. Tariq Cohen is the one receiving the snap, and he goes to fake the handoff. I believe it was trying to fake the handoff. Jordan Howard just got a grip on it and He didn't make the decision to let Jordan keep it. I think he tried to pull it back, but Jordan only had it like half the nose of the football. They lose the football. It goes fumbling around. The Packers come up with it. So not only did the Bears lose their opportunity to score, they come away with nothing, but Green Bay has it with good field position, and they have all the momentum. They just got the lead they just took the lead away from us, or tied up the game, I should say, and here they are. Now they've got this turnover. They can go and take the lead back now. And it was just like, oh, God. Come on, guys, really, we're doing it to ourselves here. First the block punt thing, or the fake punt thing. Now this, it's like 2 times we tried to get cute, and both times it backfired on us. And I'm hearing myself in my head with the whole, we got to minimize mistakes. Whoever makes the fewest mistakes in this particular game with Aaron Rodgers, blah, 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 that will be the one that comes in there. Rodgers hadn't thrown his interception yet. It was the first turnover in the football game at that point. If you go ahead and add the fake punt to it, the Bears are up 2 mistakes to 0 as far as that that is concerned. On Green Bay, it's like, man, this is not looking good. And but the Bears were able to overcome it, and the next drive was the one with the touchdown pass to Trey Burton. We kind of imposed our will there. We started picking Rodgers apart in the backfield there, and really the interception from Eddie Jackson was the icing on the cake. So I mean, they were able to add a field goal later on in the final moments, in the final minute of the of the fourth quarter. The onside kick was not successful. Allen Robinson recovered that to end the game, and then from there is where the Joniak clip from the start of the show kicks in. Trubisky takes the knee, and the celebration begins. We are the NFC North Division champs of 2018. We are officially heading to the playoffs, and the Rams lost yesterday. So now we're only a game back from the 2 seed. If we win out, I know that I think the Rams are playing Arizona and San Francisco, the 2 worst teams in their division, to close out the year. So odds are not in our favor. But God help us, if they lose one of those games, I would bet San Francisco probably being the better opportunity of that happening. But, just because I think we're going to beat San Francisco on Sunday, but that game scares me a little. Nagy kind of calmed me down a little bit on it earlier today. Not so much talking about the 49ers, but saying that, even though we've got our playoff berth set up, and we're more likely to be a 3 seed and so on and so forth, he will not be resting starters in these final 2 games because he wants the 2 seed. He's like, right now we're in a position, if we keep winning, we could even be the 1 seed in the NFC. Wouldn't that be something, man? But so we need to keep winning. We need to keep winning. Nagy wants to be 12-4 at the end of this thing. He doesn't want to settle for 11-5 or 10-6. He wants to be 12-4 and give this team its best chance to host as many playoff games as possible, because he knows. We went 7-1 at home this year, guys. For those of you that follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, you saw the post that I put out yesterday. In 3 years under John Fox, he won 7 games in Soldier Field. He went 1-7 his first year. We went 3-5 in 2016 and 2017. We were 0-8 on the road in 2016. We were 3-5 at home. Our 3 victories coming at home in 2016. 2017, we go 3-5 again. The 2 wins over Pittsburgh and Cleveland, and then our one and only NFC victory last year over the Carolina Panthers. The only 3 wins that we had at home last year. So 3-1, that's 7. 7 wins in 3 years under John Fox. 7 wins in 1 year under Matt Nagy, defending the home turf. And then in 3 years under John Fox, the Bears won a total of 3 division games. John Fox beat each team in the division 1 time in 3 years. And he went 0-6 in the division last year. He beat Green Bay, his one and only division win in 2015, that Thanksgiving night game. In 2016, we beat Detroit and Minnesota, both at home. And then last year, we go 0-6. So 3 division wins in 3 years under John Fox. 4 division wins with 1 division game left to play under Nagy in year 1. There you go. And then the tag on it was the times they are changing, 2018 champs. So, Nagy has done everything that John Fox could not do. In 3 years, Nagy has done it in 1. So, if we play enough games, I wonder if Nagy can win as many games as Fox did in 1 season. So, I mean, he won, 6 in year 1, 3 in year 2, so that's 9, and then he won 5. So he only has to win 4 more games. I mean, if we win these next 2, and then, God forbid we run the table, Nagy will have won 14 or 15 games in his first season. I mean, just how crazy would that be for Nagy to basically erase the time that John Fox was here? So that would just be insane. Anyway, the Bears have they've done it, man. We are the NFC North Division champions, and as you heard me mention at the beginning of the clip, only the second time in show history, whether it was the Chicago Bears Review or the Bears Talk Underground, this is only the second time since I started the show in 2007 that A, the Bears have won the division, and then B, have made the playoffs. I mean, we've never even been a wild card team in the whole time that I've been doing this show. So we're going to have shows that go deep into January as opposed to season ends in the last weekend in December. I give it a week or 2 and do a year in review show, and then I'll see you guys in March when free agency kicks around. We're going to be around for a bit. I have a feeling that we're going to be busy in the month of January for sure. And a lot of people are coming around to the idea, especially with the Rams losing again last night, and they think the Saints and the Panthers are going at it right now. And, so we're kind of rooting for the Panthers at the moment to see if they can't because if they both lose this weekend and the Bears won, then we're only a game behind both of them. We only need one of them to lose one more game, and we're in there kind of thing. So because I think our conference record is as good, if not better, than the one the Saints have right now. Both of their losses for the Saints came against NFC teams. So we actually have the same NFC or conference record as the Saints do right now. The Bears were 2-2 against the AFC East, so that means we were 8-2 against the NFC as a whole right now. So I mean, it's we're 10-4, so we're 8-2 against the NFC this year. We were 1-11 last year under John Fox. So. Man, things have changed. Does it feel like it was just a year ago that we were suffering through this? And it feels like it was a lifetime ago. And here it was, not even 12 months ago. We're like, well, John Fox is just playing out the string. And if I had a gun, I would shoot Dole Loggins so we wouldn't have to deal with that anymore. And so on and so forth. We were looking forward to having a good chance to win a game against the Browns a year ago at this time. The 0-14 Cleveland Browns are coming into Chicago on Christmas Eve, Sunday. And, obviously the Bears are the favorites, but you're a little nervous because they haven't won a game all year, and they're not going to go 0-16, are they? Well, this would be the perfect opportunity. We're the perfect team for them to do it to, and so on and so forth. So that's the conversation we were having a year ago at this time. Here we are, 365 days later. We won a division. We're going to the playoffs, and we are a legit threat to anyone that we play in the upcoming postseason. So there you have it. The Bears win 24-17 over the Green Bay Packers and claim the NFC North Division crown. It feels good. It feels real good. And there's something just different about what's going on with this team. Like I said, it's something special. And it doesn't feel like any other year before where we're praying we get a certain matchup. We want to do this, that, or the other. We just know. We know as fans this team can play with anybody, and we're going to be able to make some serious noise when the playoffs come around. So anyway, that is going to do it for the Week 15 review. What do you say we go ahead and close this bad boy out with everybody's favorite segment, Bear Up, Bear Down. The promo code is Bears25. If you go to MyBookie, it is, and get a 50% deposit bonus to get your bankroll started. And, good weekend. We got plenty of bowl games going on. Actually, you don't even have to wait for the weekend. I'm sure there's only 648 bowl games, so you're bound to be able to hit one eventually. There's going to be one on television somewhere between now and New Year's Eve before they start finally winding down. I think the Finger in My Ass Bowl is on Thursday, and then you have the There's Something in Your Eye Bowl, or the Burning Bush Bowl or something. I don't know. There's enough of them. Believe me, it's kind of crazy. And I don't think I'm too far off with some of those names, by the way. But go to MyBookie, enter the promo code Bears25, and get your 50% deposit bonus. And so here we go. Bear up and bear down. And I think it would be a shorter segment if I said who didn't get a bear up this week. I honestly was racking my brain and couldn't think of anybody to put on the bear down list. That's not a joke. And it's not, and honestly, it's not like euphoria over the victory or anything like that. There just wasn't anybody who stood out in my mind as to, like, you know what? You had a bad day today. There really wasn't anybody who did. It just didn't happen. Mitch Trubisky, obviously he gets a bear up, 20 of 28, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, was only sacked once, did a hell of a job moving around in the pocket, creating opportunities with his feet, finding receivers downfield, and definite bounce back from his performance against the Rams, where he was lucky enough to have the world's greatest defense on that night to kind of erase the mistakes that he was making in that ball game. And he outdueled Aaron Rodgers straight up. He beat him. So can't take that away from him. He had a much better day than Rodgers. Rodgers had 274 yards passing, but he had no touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times, and he had 17 incompletions, whereas Mitch only had 8. So, yeah, that goes down as being outdueled by Mitch Trubisky. That is what that is. And some Packer fans might take that as an insult or a slap in the face. We Bear fans saying it's about goddamn time. So there you go. A quarterback wearing a Bear uniform that outplayed Aaron Rodgers. And there we have it. We all live to see it, folks. Congratulations. Bear up Jordan Howard, 19 carries, 60 yards. So just a shade over 3 yards, but had that nice touchdown run. Had some good-looking runs yesterday. Was happy to see him with producing. Bear up Tariq Cohen. Didn't get many yards on the ground, but 4.2 yards a carry, 5 carries, 21 yards. Had the catch out of the backfield for the touchdown that gave us that big lead before the half. And a hell of a play he made there. Not to mention, he had the punt return that set up the field goal. And, with Devin Hester at the game, they showed him on the big Jumbotron there. Devin Hester at the game, Tariq Cohen showing flashes of the Windy City Flyer and having a hell of a punt return that got the Bears deep into Green Bay territory. Not a lot of work required there. We already had 3 points in the can, and that's all we came away with, but it gave us a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and the way with our defense was playing, a 2-score lead would be insurmountable at that point, and it was. So to keep it going on, Trey Burton, glad to see you back, bro. 4 catches, 36 yards, and the touchdown in the fourth quarter that gave us the lead for good. Bear up to Eddie Jackson, another interception, and probably a lot more going on in coverage than we would be able to see as fans in the home viewing audience. But I'm sure, actually, bear up to the entire secondary. Prince Amukamara got burned on that one play to Devontae Adams that set up their touchdown there in the third quarter. But that was a 50-50 ball, and he just came out on the wrong side of it. But for the most part, the secondary, like you heard me say it 1,000 times already in the episode, so many times Aaron Rodgers had 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw the ball and just had nowhere to go with it. He didn't feel comfortable with any window that he was given an opportunity to throw into in this football game, and was content on sitting back there waiting for someone to get open, and it just never happened. On so many plays, it just never happened. So an outstanding job. So bear up to the entire secondary: Kyle Fuller, Prince Amukamara, Eddie Jackson, Adrian Amos, and Sherrick McManus. Another outstanding performance out of Sherrick McManus. Made an outstanding play in the third quarter that very well could have saved a touchdown. He was guarding Randall Cobb on one particular play. Rodgers makes a throw to the end zone, and if McManus doesn't get a finger on it, that thing probably goes in for a touchdown, and we're behind Green Bay. So it was a heck of a play that Sherrick McManus made in that one, putting a lot of people's minds at ease about what we're missing with Bryce Callahan on injured reserve with that broken foot. So an outstanding job from the secondary, and very, very happy about what was going on there. Obviously, we got to give a bear up to Khalil Mack. 2.5 sacks. You know you're a bad dude when you can sack a quarterback with just your lower back, which is exactly what he did yesterday. But bear up Leonard Floyd. 2 sacks yesterday, doubling his total for the season, but 2 very big sacks yesterday. And according to Nagy, he's like, Leonard Floyd was everywhere yesterday. He did play, making a lot of tackles against the run yesterday. Leonard Floyd was getting it done, and it's good to see. You know, Floyd, I guess, is feeling what's going on with the defense. Maybe his hand being 100% healthy or something like that. Maybe that has something to do with it. But his play has definitely seen an uptick in the last few weeks. 2 big sacks yesterday, including the one that basically sealed the game for us. He ends up running down Rodgers, who was taking another 12 seconds to trying to find a receiver down there when they were trying to it led to their field goal, but it was not enough, and Leonard Floyd sacking Aaron Rodgers on the last offensive play for Green Bay yesterday. Bear up Josh Bellamy. 2 big plays Josh Bellamy made yesterday. The first one being he downed a punt inside the 5-yard line yesterday. Was able to get him. He's a gunner on special teams, got all the way down and basically caught the punt like he was the punt returner that pinned the Packers deep. And I believe that was the drive that set up the Tariq Cohen punt return in the second quarter or something like that. But he set up a big play, and then on the touchdown drive, the one that Tariq Cohen finished off, made an amazing catch. I mean, how he got both hands up there to make that catch, I'll never know. But an outstanding job from Bellamy. Bear up to Pat O'Donnell. That punt that Bellamy caught inside the 5 was not the only one that he pinned the Packers deep with yesterday. The Bears were winning field position all over the place yesterday, thanks to Pat O'Donnell. Bear up to Matt Nagy. Didn't make the best call with the fake punt and that 3rd and 1 Wildcat garbage, but nonetheless, man, how can you argue against the guy that won more games as a first-year coach, or tied for the most games won as a first-year coach with George freaking Halas, only the founder of the NFL, the owner of the team, a guy that won, 7-8 championships as head coach of the Chicago Bears, and kind of an important figure in franchise history. Now Matt Nagy, his name goes right next to Papa Bear, and he's got a few chances to break that record. So he could be above Papa Bear in the record book by the end of the season, which is just a bananas statement. But bear up to Matt Nagy. And then finally, bear up to Charles Leno. And I know that all the collective jaws of the Bears Talk Underground listeners just hit the ground because Larry D is showing Charles Leno some love, and that is absolutely right. I am. Number one, only 1 sack allowed yesterday, and it wasn't Charles Leno's fault. I think he only had 1 false start penalty, which is a season low for Charles. He does like the false start penalties. But not only did he contribute to a fantastic performance from our offense, or at least one good enough to get us a victory yesterday, my man also got down on one knee and engaged to and proposed to his lady at the 50-yard line after before celebrating the NFC North Division victory. He proposed to his lady, and of course she said yes. There's a clip of it on ChicagoBears.com. So bear up to Charles Leno. He's going to be jumping the broom at some point. And she said yes, so congrats to him. Big day for Charles yesterday. Won a division. This is a guy that's been on the team since 2014, so he had to suffer Trestman and Fox before getting here to win a division with Matt Nagy, and he's going to his first postseason along with a lot of guys as well. So bear up to that, to Charles Leno Jr. Got himself engaged yesterday, and for being here, man. You know, you got to give credit to a guy that has been consistently been there. He's I don't know how many games in a row he started now, and whether or not I'm a huge fan of his, the guy's always there, and Mitch is staying clean. So what can you say? I'm gonna have to maybe change my tune on Charles Leno eventually. Why not start now? Congratulations, Charles, on your impending nuptials. So there you do it. There you have it. That is going to do it for the Week 15 review of the Bears Talk Underground. Our beloved Chicago Bears, their 10th win of the season, 10-4, clinching the NFC North Division with 2 games left to play, and very excited to see what the future holds. Very, very excited, because I think that big things are ahead for this team. This division championship is just the beginning. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I'll talk more about this on Thursday, but you know, when you look at some of the changes that have been made this season with Nagy, the personnel that was added around him, there's also a common theme with all of those guys. I'll talk about that on Thursday. And speaking of Thursday, that's when we're going to have our friend Oscar Aparicio from the Better Rivals podcast for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to have him on Thursday night to help preview this game. You know, is it a trap game? You know, the Bears have won the division. They're definitely into the playoffs. They're headed to the postseason. Matt Nagy says, I'm not resting starters. We're trying to get ourselves a bye, maybe even try to get our hands on the 1 seed if things work out for us. Is this a trap game with us possibly looking past the 49ers to the Minnesota Vikings? Because we might be playing to keep the Vikings out of the playoffs, because right now the best chance the Vikings have of making the playoffs is as the 6th seed, which means that if we stay at 3, we could end up playing the Vikings on back-to-back weeks. In Minnesota, Week 17 to finish out the year, in Chicago in the wild card round a week later. So maybe we're going to be playing on that final Sunday to keep Minnesota out of it, so we can play somebody else like the Redskins or something in the wild card round. So if we're going to be in the wild card round, that is. So we'll have to wait and see. But Oscar's going to talk to us about the 49ers. What a crazy year it's been for them, losing Jimmy Garoppolo early on in the season. They're up and downs with the quarterback situation. They've suffered a lot of injuries and everything like that. Kyle Shanahan in year 2 of him, trying to get that team going. Lots to talk about with him. We'll sum it all up on Thursday, so come back then as we preview Week 16 of this season, starting winding things down and gearing up for the postseason. And that's just not talk, folks. We're going to be doing postseason shows. I can hardly wait. So anyway, come on back Thursday, and we'll have Oscar Aparicio from the Better Rivals podcast to help us preview the game between the 49ers. And until then, my name is Larry D, and this has been Bears Talk Underground.